Since 2022, more than 700,000 tech workers have been laid off. And if you were hoping that 2026 would be different, then I hate to break it to you because it's already starting the exact same way. Meta just announced they're cutting 10% of Reality Labs. That's around 1,500 employees from the Metaverse division. Citibank will cut more jobs this year as part of its plan to reduce its workforce by 10% or 20,000 employees. And there's rumors companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon will also continue with cuts this year. If you're working in tech right now or you're trying to make the switch, then you're probably fearing the worst. And to be honest, for good reason, because the headlines are relentless. Every single week, it's another company. Another round of cuts, another announcement where a CEO is seemingly boasting about their AI capabilities. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything is fine, because it's obviously not. But I've done some digging, and despite the headlines, there's an untold story about what's really going on behind these AI layoffs, and it might change how you're thinking about all of this. I'm Suleiman. I've been in tech for over a decade, and today I consult with Fortune 500 companies. Through my academy, I've helped over 900 IT professionals, career switchers, master cloud engineering. Now, what I'm seeing behind the scenes right now is completely different from what you're reading in the headlines. The narrative says that AI is replacing engineers. The reality is that companies are starting to quietly reverse course. And if you understand what's actually happening, 2026 is primed for a boom that you can take advantage of while everyone else is fearing for the worst. Let's get into it. And first, you need to understand what's actually driving these decisions, because it's not what they are telling you. When a CEO announces layoffs and says that we are becoming more efficient with AI, are they really becoming more efficient? Well, it depends on who you ask. Following 2020, we had a massive hiring boom as cost to borrow money was 0% and growth seemed infinite with everyone stuck indoors. The number of employees at Amazon virtually doubled overnight, and a similar pattern of aggressive hiring was noticeable across all of big tech. But then interest rates go up, growth slows down, and suddenly you've got bloated companies. Here is the thing. You can't now go to investors and say that we made bad hiring decisions and we hired too many people. That makes you look incompetent, even if you are, right? You can tank the stock price. So what do you do instead? You say that we're leveraging AI to increase efficiency and streamline operations. It's the same layoffs, but with a completely different narrative. And Wall Street absolutely eats this up. When Bumble announced AI layoffs, their stock jumped 25% the same day. This has become so common that there's actually a term for this now: AI washing. Companies are slapping AI on everything to justify decisions that have nothing to do with AI. And here is the part that should really make you pay attention. In 2025, across all sectors, we've had 1.17 million layoffs, but only about 55,000 were actually directly attributed to AI. That's less than 5%. But AI is replacing everyone makes a much better headline than we overhired during the pandemic and now we're fixing our mistakes. Now, let me be clear about something. I'm not saying AI isn't changing anything. My companies use it. We build with it, it's genuinely useful, but there's a massive gap between AI is a useful tool and AI is replacing your job. And we need to talk about why that gap actually exists. Sam Altman told us that AGI was right around the corner. Mark Zuckerberg said that AI would be so good that it would replace mid-level software engineers in 2025. So, did that happen? No, obviously not. Instead, we got AI slop everywhere. Everyone asking Grok for context. We got ChatGPT adding ads to their platform. That's the AGI revolution that we were promised. A chatbot with a subscription model and advertising. MIT released a study last year showing that 95% of organizations that launch AI initiatives saw little to no measurable impact. Deloitte surveyed nearly 2,000 executives, and while more than half said that they were using AI, only 10% reported seeing any significant return on investment. And then the companies that went all in on AI to replace humans, they're learning this the hard way right now. Klarna CEO was everywhere talking about how AI was doing the work of 700 customer service agents. He literally said that he wanted Klarna to be OpenAI's favorite guinea pig. By early 2025, he had to admit that quality had suffered, customer satisfaction had dropped, and they started rehiring humans again. And Klarna wasn't alone. Salesforce were openly bragging about cutting 4,000 employees in September of 2025, as the CEO put, because I need less heads with AI. And as it turns out, they were wrong, because by the end of December, Salesforce is regretting that decision as AI has proved not to be as good as they thought. So you've also got those former OpenAI researchers who launched AI 2027, essentially a doomsday report about how AI will take over the world, slowly backtracking from their predictions and claiming things will take longer than they said. And this is the reversal that nobody's talking about. I'm running my own companies. I'm hiring engineers, and I work with companies trying to implement these systems. I'm seeing a shift coming. Companies spent 2024 and 2025 buying into the AI hype, firing employees and believing AI would fill the gap. Or they just wanted an excuse to lay off workers, whichever one you want to believe. Now, in 2026, we are heading towards a new reality. Companies are not only quietly rehiring the employees that they fired, but as AI isn't working the way Wall Street promised and CEOs are realizing that they've gone a little bit too far, the pendulum is swinging back because the reality forced their hand. I mean, this should come to no surprise to those of you who are actually building with AI. All of the hallucination, the bugs and the errors, and it's not even close to being ready to replace a real experienced engineer. For example, how many AI tools and products and services have you seen that actually solve a real problem? Like, I know we are seeing the humanoid robots, self-driving cars, and AGI, which is AI that can actually perform a wide range of tasks as good as humans. Obviously, all of that is still years away, right? But thinking about today and what I've seen working with companies trying to implement AI and cloud, they build, let's say, an AI agent that can handle 70% of customer inquiries, which frees up customer support reps. It sounds amazing, right? But here is the problem. The remaining 30%, that's where 90% of the actual work happens. The edge cases, the complex problems, the stuff that requires real judgment and experience. It's like looking for a nice, shiny solution in a search of a problem. And this is playing out everywhere right now. Now, you've also got companies using existing services and products that are driving revenue, and they are wrapping some AI features on there to then go back to investors to say, hey, look, we are making so much money from our AI products, and that's why we're going to lay off more employees because we are so efficient. Now, we've seen that that's not entirely true whatsoever, but when you've got investors demanding returns and answers for how companies are implementing, then I can understand why CEOs and executives have been scrambling to show progress, because if you don't, then you'll be the one falling behind the pack and your company shares will be affected negatively. So if in 2026, companies are going to continue reversing course and rehiring tech workers that they previously let go, but also aggressively hiring engineers, where does this leave you if you're trying to break into tech or just want to level up as an engineer? How should you be preparing? Here is how I think about this, and to me, this is the most important thing that you can take away from this video. Steve Jobs was ruthless about one thing: signal to noise ratio. Steve Jobs' definition of signal was very specific. Signal was the top 3 to 5 things that you have to get done in the next 18 hours. Not your vision for the next week or the next month, just the next 18 hours that you're awake. Those 3 to 5 things that are critical for your mission, they must get done today. Anything that stops you from doing that, well, that's noise. Most of your time and energy going into things that actually move the needle. Roughly an 80-20 split. Most people trying to break into tech right now or level up their career and make more money have flipped this ratio. They're running 80% noise and 20% signal. They spend hours scrolling through layoff news, reading articles about AI taking jobs, watching videos about how impossible it is in this market, complaining on Reddit threads, refreshing LinkedIn to see who else got let go. That's all noise. And that is the problem. And the problem is, reading about the news and the job market feels productive. It feels like you're actually gathering useful information. But at the same time, what are you not doing? You're not acquiring the skill set that you need to compete in the job market. And this is something that I see and hear all of the time. You know, I help anyone get a 6-figure cloud engineering job, and this is one of the biggest hurdles that I've found that keeps people stuck. A job market that you're not skilled in simply doesn't affect you. And then maybe with little time left over, they'll do something that actually matters. Work on a project, send off a job application. You know, I recently posted a software engineering job for my consulting company, and I asked for a 60-second Loom video to be submitted with your resume, just explaining who you are and why you'd be a great fit for this opportunity. I received more than 600 applications in the first day. And how many people do you think sent me a Loom video? 10? 20? 5? Well, it was actually 0. Nobody bothered. People can't even read basic instructions, nor do they bother to go the extra mile. And this isn't a one-off either. The bar is genuinely on the floor right now. I had a group call inside of my free community last week, and one of the students said that they've got some certifications, and he listed 4 of them, and then he said that I applied for hundreds of jobs, and I've not heard anything back. What should I do, Suleiman? Well, firstly, Obviously, there's a massive skill gap there. Not enough projects or hands-on work, no portfolio, he doesn't post on LinkedIn, and I asked him why he can't apply to 1,000 jobs. And I know it seems a little bit unreasonable, but to get what you want, sometimes you have to ask, am I doing everything that I can do to achieve the goals, or am I moving mountains to achieve them? Because let's play out the scenario where we go back to post-pandemic hiring patterns and companies expand again. Imagine if that happens today and you spend all of this time being distracted by noise and you didn't keep up with the job market and actually got the skills that you needed to get. To take advantage of an opportunity when it comes your way, you have to be prepared. So build real skills, and I mean actual hands-on experience building things that solve real problems, not just certificates and theory. Proof that you can execute. A portfolio. Posting your work on LinkedIn, working on real side projects and showcasing your talent to recruiters so they come to you with job opportunities. When I'm hiring, I generally do not care about your degree. I care about whether you can solve problems and whether you've shown me evidence of that. And you have to go further than everyone else. How many of you, when you're applying for jobs, you'll see a cover letter as a requirement and instantly you close the application because you can't be bothered to make a new one? Go the extra mile. Chase up hiring managers. Send that Loom video to put yourself on top of the pile. Go to in-person events. Do the thing that nobody else bothers to do. While everyone's paralyzed by the noise and the fear, you're building the skills and generating signal. Now here's what I want you to take away from all of this. The AI is replacing everyone narrative is largely corporate PR designed to justify decisions that have nothing to do with AI capability and everything to do with stock prices and fixing the overhiring following 2020. The actual data shows that companies are regretting these decisions and quietly reversing course. The companies that fired people expecting AI to fill the gaps by now desperately need people who can make AI actually work. They need engineers who understand cloud infrastructure, who can build systems that scale, who can bridge the gap between what AI promises in a demo and what businesses actually need in production. You need to be able to solve real problems, and it sounds so simple, but sometimes it's really that easy. Obviously, CEOs are not going to admit that they were wrong, but they are hiring aggressively for engineers. Just look at the job postings on LinkedIn. Right now, as I'm recording this video, there's over 600 jobs posted in the last 24 hours in the US with the keyword cloud engineer. And every couple minutes, new jobs are being added. While everyone else is panicking, the opportunities are there. You just have to start building the skills that matter so you can position yourself and actually get hired. It's really not that difficult. Genuinely, most of you haven't even tried, and I know this because I speak to you guys watching my videos on a daily basis, and I want you to ask yourself a question. Am I really trying to get hired, or am I moving mountains to get hired? What would happen if I made my career a genuine priority and acquired the skills to compete in the job market today? You'll be surprised by how much progress that you can make in just 30 days by starting today. Remember, there is always opportunities for the best engineers. You just have to become one first. As always, I'm rooting for you. Good luck.